Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement, presented by Barstool Sports, and a very special edition of My Mom's Basement with Jose Youngs back in the basement. The Professor Jose Youngs gracing us with his presence and knowledge in the comic universe. Of course, it is Robbie and Clem back as always. Next week, we will be in person in Chicago with T. Bob Herbert. We said he might be this week. Then we realized we'll be in Chicago with him next week. We said we'll do that in person, full episode with him next week. Jose, how we doing?
I'm great, man. I'm always happy to be back in the basement. It seems like every time I'm on your show, my DMs just get flooded with comic book recommendation questions. So I always love to see, even to this day, like when Thunderbolts came out, my social media was just like at Robbie, at Clem, at Jose. What should I be reading? So I feel like
You're
I
the
get
professor.
recognized.
You got to bring it to the people. You bring it to the basement boys and girls for sure.
I feel like I get recognized more for your podcast than any other thing I've ever done in my entire life. And I'm not complaining whatsoever. I love it.
That's amazing. Clem, how we feeling?
I'm just happy Jose's here. He's going to drop knowledge on us. We might even get the heavy breathing stuff about some potential upcoming projects, maybe a couple projects from the past. So it's been far too long. I put that on the host. Honestly, it's his fault.
It is on me, to be honest. But we were waiting for Jose to catch up on Andor for a while. He finally finished it. We talked about it. We texted back and forth about it. But Jose, on the podcast, what were your thoughts on Andor?
It's my favorite IP, I think, in all of Star Wars. I'm kind of clumping Rogue One into the Andor. I kind of view that. I kind of view that as season 3 of Andor. I think it's my favorite IP for sure. And as I say that as like a big lightsaber fan, and like I love Jedis and I love Sith. The more you add, the better. The fact that there was, spoiler alert, none of that was awesome. I honest to God think it's my favorite IP Star Wars has ever put out.
I believe it. It reinvigorated, I feel like, the entire fan interest in Battlefront. Obviously, like Revenge of the Sith and stuff like that helped. But like Andor was the fucking spark that sent everything ablaze. And now Clem has been watching Empire Strikes Back to fall asleep the last 3 nights, he told me.
Addicted. They got me back into the Star Wars game, dude. It's I've just took a bunch of spice to the head, and I'm just addicted to Star Wars again. And I don't know if you've heard all this stuff with Battlefront 2 going crazy, where they've had the most like live users on their video game. A game that is how old, Bob? Like 5 years old?
It's 8 years old.
8 years
How about
old.
That?
Wow.
People are flooding the Battlefront 2, a PlayStation 4 game, not a 5 game, a PlayStation 4 game.
Yep.
And I bought it. It was $5. Robbie told me to get on the PlayStation Store, and I'm addicted to it. And it's like everything. Again, this is why I'm not going to go down this road, but this is why we get so mad when they give us shit, right? Because we know how great it can be. And this even hit a level. Jose, did you do the whole thing? Andor into the Rogue One rewatch, into the New Hope rewatch? Did you?
I haven't done it yet because, and I was texting Robbie about this. My girlfriend has never seen Rogue One ever, and so we're like waiting for a time to sit down. And Robbie and I both agreed we're very jealous that her first watch of Rogue One comes after watching Andor, because I feel it makes it that much more interesting. Like for me, I know who is like. She's like, oh, I hope this person doesn't die. I'm like, oh. He's in Rogue One, so he can't technically die. But I was like, yes, I'm very jealous that her first Rogue One experience comes from Rogue One right into it. And then from there, we're just going to take off, just like you said.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Jose. As someone that did the rewatch, so already had seen it. I always get the names confused. I have to think. Rogue One. I always think which one's the movie, which one's the TV show. I'm telling you, it's better. It's great for you to have seen it, because you're gonna watch and be like,
I agree.
Oh my God, it's so much better now. I think people say that people just get dumber, and then by New Hope, people are like mouth breathers, because it's like, how are you guys so cunning and smart in Andor, and everything just gets dumbed down? But that's obviously, you're reworking the stuff on the fly. But it's incredible. I don't know if we've ever talked about this on the pod. What are your, and I don't want to start a war on its own. I just need to know, what are your opinion? What's your overarching opinion on the prequels and the sequels?
So I was 8 or 9 when episode 1 came out. So I saw that in theaters the week it came out. And as an 8-year-old, obviously I fucking loved Darth Maul. And he was the man. I didn't really understand the hate on Jar Jar at the time. I get it now. He's very annoying. But I, as someone who just liked action figures, that whole movie was just action figure like central. So I was obsessed with Maul. I thought the end of episode 2 was pretty cool when Yoda fought Count Dooku with the lightsabers. Jango Fett obviously was the man before he got blasted. And then Revenge of the Sith, I thought Anakin was like, wait. At that point, I understood Star Wars hate because I was like 15. And I was like, Anakin is incredibly whiny in this movie. And then the end of it was just kind of mind blowing. And then the sequels, I liked Force Awakens, but I don't know if it's because I liked it because I had been starved for Star Wars content or whether I liked it as a movie. I think, a minority. I like, what's the second one in the sequels? Last Jedi. I liked Last Jedi quite a bit. Like, actually, that's one of my 5 favorite Star Wars. And then the third one, was it Rise of Skywalker? I thought was terrible. I thought that was really bad, but I was very bummed because Last Jedi, I thought, set the groundwork for an epic finale. And then they just, was it J.J. Abrams just like erased everything that movie did? That was a bit of a bummer. But I think Last Jedi is probably, I think Rogue One's my favorite Star Wars movie. I love Empire. I love A New Hope, and then probably Last Jedi would be 4th for me.
That's pretty consistent. Yeah, that's like the Robbie path I said, where people love The Last Jedi. And the thing is, there's people like me who hated The Last Jedi. Like the night of the movie, I tweeted out, I was like, I hated this. Why? I didn't know. I had no clue the craziness that was going to come after that movie came out. But then everyone agrees, like, whether you loved The Last Jedi, hated The Last Jedi, everyone was just like, fuck Rise of Skywalker. Because they tried to...
Yes, true.
They tried to make everyone happy, but they made no one happy.
They made no one happy.
Correct.
So the fact is, everyone is happy after Andor, which I'm very happy to hear. You're in there. Lady Jose is about to have Lady Youngs is about to have a good experience watching. Or I don't know if it's a good experience. It's an experience. We'll just say that.
Yeah, it's like it's a good experience watching, and then at the end you're like, oh my god, dude, what did I just watch?
But like the last 20 minutes of Rogue One is just perfection. Like literally like the hallway scene, the last stand. It's the
fight in space where the fucking Star Destroyers crash into each other into the shield gate, like everything about that.
The only time I've been in the office, you asked me like what scene do I rewatch regularly from a movie? I think the hallways. I don't want to give away too much if anyone hasn't watched, but like the Darth Vader hallway scene.
Oh yeah,
yes, that's true. If you're listening to the Darth Vader hallway scene where it's just like and you see the red is probably top 3 movie scenes. I'll just rewatch once a month.
Yeah, it's like maybe the greatest 2-screen personification of Darth Vader's power we've ever seen, and it made him feel like video game Darth Vader. Like that feels like something we should get in a Battlefront commercial where it's like, oh my god, now I can't wait to play the game. But we actually got it on the big screen after like making us wait the whole movie for him to have the lights. Everything about that, I could go on for hours and hours about the hallway scene. Also, we are now a month away from the entire, gigantic July blockbuster movie month. Fantastic Four and Superman, where are we at hype level wise?
Both very high for different reasons. I love Superman so much, to the point where my mom sent me a photo of my first ever Halloween. I am 10 months old. My dad's holding me 10 months old, and I'm in full Superman outfit at 10 months old, ready to go out. That's amazing. So I'm going to post it the day Superman comes out. I'm going to post it. I'm going to be like fan since day one. So I'm very hyped for Superman. I was just in Rhode Island. My mom is so excited for it. More importantly, she's the Superman fan. Obviously, I've said that a few times. And Fantastic Four, I think it's been a long time coming. There's been 3 very bad Fantastic Four movies. I think these guys are going to do a very good job, especially if they do what a lot of, I assume, the fan theories are for like the direction, the storylines that are going to when it takes place, what universe, if there are multiple universes in the MCU. So very hyped for 2 different reasons, but I can't remember. I think I was very hyped for The Batman with Robert Pattinson. Probably that level of excitement. Like that was the last time I was like, I want to go see this the day it comes out, and I'm probably going to see both of those movies the day they come out.
Did you see someone on Twitter saying that they're not super happy with the Fantastic Four because it kind of seems like they're ripping off the Incredibles?
I have not.
And everyone was like,
that's the like, come on, guys.
And the tweet went like pretty viral. They were showing like Mole Man and the fucking look, the Incredibles had someone like this, and look, the Incredibles had someone, and it's like, you know, the Incredibles is a Fantastic Four parody, right? Like, come on, guys. This is day one stuff.
I was on the bracket 2 weeks ago, and I made a joke about how I think Tom from Tom and Jerry gets a little bit of forgotten these days because I think Itchy and Scratchy did what they did better. And the entire room of 20-something and 30-something said, who are Itchy and Scratchy?
Oh,
no. And I felt old then. This Fantastic Four Incredibles thing might have made me feel older. That someone actually is like, they're ripping off from the Incredibles. Unless it's just really good satire. I don't know.
it might have been. And maybe people people were getting got, and they were like, oh my God, I can't believe that. If you really think about it, they all kind of have the same powers. And it's like, no shit. That's like the whole thing here. And they were like, and she's even going to have a baby in this movie. It's going to be like Jack. So, I don't know, man.
Yes. Spoiler alert, Homelander and Superman are pretty similar too.
Yeah. So I know we've talked about this before when it comes to this specific Superman movie, but now that we're a month away, I feel like we could use some refreshers on some of the side characters in this movie. So I'm hoping you can give us just kind of a broad refresher on someone like Guy Gardner. When people are like, who's this Green Lantern? What's the story with Guy Gardner?
So Guy Gardner is, I don't know where. So the original Earth Green Lantern would be Alan Scott, but that came like decades before really like this mainstream thing. And he like made his own, I think he made his own ring out of a meteorite or something, and it's literally shaped like a lantern. He doesn't really have a lot of connection to like the Lantern Corps. And then obviously Hal Jordan was the one for decades, and then he went crazy and became Parallax after the death of Superman. Kyle Rayner kind of took the reins. Well, he did take the reins. He was the last one after Parallax, Hal Jordan / Parallax killed all of the similar. So perfect segue. Hal Jordan would be very similar to Vader, where there were thousands. Like he went through a very personal tragedy where in the death of Superman, Mongol destroyed Coast City, which is like Metropolis would be like New York, Coast City would be like LA, and that's where Hal Jordan was based. And Mongol, right after the death of Superman, came and wiped it out and was trying to start Battle World. And then Green Lantern comes back, Superman comes back, it's a whole thing. But then Hal Jordan wants to like bring back his city, but he can't. So he tries to get the ultimate power to like bring everyone back, and he starts killing all of the Green Lanterns to take their ring. That's where you get the very famous photo of crazy Hal Jordan with all the rings. And he has like an evil smile that every time Tom Brady won a Super Bowl, people would tweet that out. So that's a
dope picture. That's a dope picture.
It is a great photo. So that's where that comes out. And the last stand is Sinestro is brought back, and then he kills Sinestro. I think he kills Sinestro with his bare hands, if I remember correctly, which is pretty crazy. And then the last like Guardian gives it to like literally just goes to Earth, finds a random person and goes, here, you take it. And then that's Kyle Rayner. And then he eventually becomes very powerful. But Guy Gardner is the hothead Green Lantern of this universe. I think he was debuted in the 60s. Very bad bowl cut. Looks a lot different. He is sort of comic relief in the sense that he's not funny, but his interactions with characters are funny. Like there is a very, I think he's also a Baltimore superhero. I think he's based in Baltimore or born in Baltimore. There's a very funny Justice Society of America or Justice League of America. Whenever someone talks about Guy Gardner, the thing they talk about is how many times he's been knocked out, like by getting punched in the face, where it's like all of the superheroes are arguing, and like Batman and Guy Gardner are arguing. So then like Guy Gardner takes his ring off or something to fight Batman, and Batman one-shots him, like one punch in the face, and he's out. And then they write him off for like 2 issues because he's unconscious.
That's amazing. That's something to watch for in Superman. I feel like Guy Gardner getting knocked out. Put that on your bingo board.
And then he wakes up and all of a sudden he has empathy. Like he's not a hothead anymore. Like he's like kind of a wuss.
He got humbled a little.
Yes. Green Lantern, Guy Gardner is like, he's just like the third or fourth Lantern and even fifth. Like, cause I think Hal Jordan's clearly number one. Kyle Rayner and John Stewart are 2. Alan Scott's probably 4. And then Guy Gardner was always like the 5th. But he is a very kooky character. I like him a lot. Did either of you read or watch Harry Potter?
I've seen the movies, yeah.
So when Harry died, so I'm going to say this just so Harry doesn't die. When Voldemort dies, there's this prophecy that like this person was born and this and that. And then basically there's 2 babies that it could be. It could be Harry Potter or Neville Longbottom. Like those are the 2. And then he goes after Harry. Similar-ish to Guy Gardner, where when the ring comes to Earth and then seeks a new person, it's between Guy and Hal Jordan. And it chooses Hal Jordan. So Guy was always second fiddle to everybody. But I like the character a lot. And I'm really happy he has his shitty bowl cut because that's kind of his signature.
But Robbie, who was the guy that I said looks like a WCW wrestler from the 90s that I'm not excited about?
Okay, so that perfect transition to the next character I wanted to ask Jose about, because I do think he looks cool, and I'm pretty sure that he's a kind of a fan favorite, Mr. Terrific.
Oh, yes. Mr. Terrific is he is an awesome character, an absolutely fantastic character. He would be similar to...
Is he like a Reed Richards based on what?
Yeah.
Smartest man, like
if you were to rank the smartest people in the world, DC or Marvel, Mr. Terrific would be top 5, like humans.
Wow.
Like I'm not talking like it would be Mr. Terrific. It'd be Lex Luthor. It would be Tony Stark. Would even be like second tier because Tony Stark is smart, but Mr. Fantastic and Mrs. Terrific are like just another level to the point where I think Mr. Fantastic, most people would agree, is the smartest human superhero in any comic book. Mrs. Terrific might be number 2. It'd be between like him and Luthor. And he has his little like ball things that float around.
I think he's got like orbs. Yeah, are those like grenades? Are they weapons? Are they?
They're like They're like helpers. Like,
oh,
yeah. It's hard to. They're just like hyper intelligent. So it'd be like if he needs like a laser, he can post something out. If he needs something like welded, he can do it. He is sick. I really like his character, and I'm very happy he doesn't have his own movie or show because I don't think it would do good. He is a
side character, maybe.
He's a diehard comic book characters. Like I don't have any single issues of Mr. Terrific at all. I don't have any graphic novels where he's the guy. Yeah, and not that he's a bad character. I just think when he pops into Justice League or Batman or Superman, he's kind of steals the spotlight. I think he's an awesome character.
Okay, so how like to be like that player, like ball knowers like this guy, book knowers like this guy. Like this is, Jose knows book. He respects.
I like
him.
that
It's
book
cool
knowers.
And he's like, imagine Mr. Fantastic with his brain intelligence, but has like Captain America's fighting ability, like hand-to-hand combat.
That seems kind of sick. He's got the cool flat top in the fucking movie.
And
he looks cool.
I think his leather jacket is so sick in the comic book.
Yeah, that like motorcycle jacket. It's like a racing jacket. Yeah. And then what about Metamorpho, who also, based on what I've seen, like they kind of nailed the comic look. They gave him the orange and purple.
Yeah. So Metamorpho is like, he is an OG, like golden era Brave and the Bold character. I never in a million years thought they would ever use him in a show or movie, I should say, because he is such a deep cut for like even the ones he's popular in. Like he's in a character like there's a Metamorpho woman, I can't remember her name, and she has a very famous issue of the Sandman because Sandman is a DC property.
Oh, yeah.
And it's her like trying to die because she can't die because her body just like regenerates herself. And it's like a whole thing. Metamorpho is such a deep cut and such a OG. I don't even know. Must have been the 40s or 50s, somewhere in the early golden era.
Does he usually go hero or villain or in between?
He's part of the Metal Man and Doom Patrol, so he's kind of like an anti-hero type thing.
Interesting.
As much as you could be an anti-hero in like whatever he is. But yeah, I'm Rex Mason, I believe is his name. I can't believe they're using him. I'm happy they're using him, but it's like he was, of anyone they could have picked, he was not on my tier.
It's like a classic James Gunn thing, him being like, yeah, I am using Polka Dot Man in my fucking Suicide Squad.
That's true. Oh, that's a very good point. Yeah, it was something very similar. And he has like Egyptian ties, like he got his powers from like the orb of Ra or like the sun god or something like that. Because the way the Metamorphose, the female, I can't blanking on her name right now, in that issue is like the way she eventually dies is she like prays to the sun god to take her powers away. And then she gets her powers.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I do got to give James Gunn credit too, because they even put out a Superman TV spot, like I think earlier today, and it's like a clip we've seen in some of the trailers where Guy Gardner uses the ring power to have like a big middle finger come up, and I was that's like such James Gunn humor. And then someone posted the side by side, and they were like, no, like Guy Gardner actually has the middle finger thing in the there's like a panel where he uses that, and I was like, I gotta give James Gunn credit, because there's some things where I just chalk it up to like, oh yeah, that's very his style of humor. That he's like, no, that's a direct homage to the comics.
Yeah, that's Guy Gardner is the rude, angry hothead. That I think if you didn't include that in the movie, people would be upset.
And Jose, so as obviously a book knower, how are you? And this is the other thing, everyone. Jose having this much hype for these two movies says something. Usually it's like, you guys let me know how that show is, how that movie is. I'm good. Yeah. I'm good right now. The fact you're like, I am hyped, that kind of gets me even more excited. How do you feel about James Gunn after what he did, obviously, with Guardians and then the Suicide Squad and whatever DC stuff's done?
So I still haven't seen his Suicide Squad movie yet. Not that I've just never been I totally get it. I know I would like it. I was never a big Suicide Squad fan of the comic books, so it was never something I was like, I have to go see this. I love all the Guardians movies. That's why I know I would like his Suicide Squad, because he never
Starro in, he did the fucking Starfish on Faces,
which takes place in Rhode Island, Happy Harbor, Rhode Island, where obviously Happy Harbor.
That original Justice League does.
First Justice League issue 1 takes place in Happy Harbor, Rhode Island. No, it's like a source of pride from growing up. Yeah. So I try to tell everybody, hey, I'm from where the Justice League started, but like they never want it. They're just like, yeah, okay, weirdo. I was also never I wasn't a Suicide Squad fan, and I wasn't a Guardians fan. Like, I appreciated the comic books. Guardians had some like, what's it? Annihilation comic book. If you took like the 10 best Marvel arcs of post 2000, that's easily in the top 10.
Oh,
wow.
I wouldn't, but I've never sought out Guardians content, and I've never sought out Suicide Squad content, and I loved Guardians movies. So I know I would like Suicide Squad. So I just think James Gunn needs to put the phone down and stop living on the internet. I say that as someone who really appreciates his style of storytelling. Like, stop tweeting. Like, there is such thing as giving out too much information.
I'm almost to that point with Superman where, like, I've seen enough. I'm sold on the movie. I don't want to see any more. And they're giving him some shit because he's in every piece of like promotional and marketing. And I've seen some people saying he's just there to make sure that nobody says the wrong thing. He's like, and now at this point, he's the head of DC, head of Superman, head of all this stuff, and he has to like make sure everyone stays in line right about now.
Yes.
He's in the driver's seat of the driver's ed car where he can hit the brakes. Like, that's all he's doing. Causes this like $80 bazillion car to get into an accident. And when I saw that was the next Fortnite season was DC, I'm like, all right, guys. But then I'm like, at the same point, I'm like, now my son, he's like, Dad, I think Robin's my favorite comic book character. He doesn't even know Robin's from Batman. So it's like they're getting the next generation. He also made the previous season made AJ a bigger Star Wars fan than he's ever been his whole life. So now it's like I understand why they're doing it.
It's working.
This is just the world we live in. The amount of marketing that's going to come in the next month between Fantastic Four and Superman. You see all the cereals, right? They're throwing back the cereals with the Cocoa Puffs and everything for Fantastic Four. We're about to get inundated, boys. We are going to
didn't Feige say he showed the Fantastic Four team like the Fortnite Galactus event? And he was like, that's what it should look like in the movie. And they were like, all right, I guess we're listening to Fortnite. Let's tell everyone about one of our favorite sponsors here in the basement. That is Game Time, because they don't make it easy to buy concert tickets nowadays. You got to sign up for the pre-sale. You get in the queue. By the time you get through, the best seats are already gone. Going to a concert should be about the show itself, not waiting in a virtual line. And lucky for me, I always use Game Time. It's the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. They make getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the app actually go down the closer it gets to showtime as well. So if you wait, you could get maybe some cheap tickets right up against the showtime. Plus, Game Time picks, they make it easier to get great deals on the seats you want. Just pull up your chosen event and turn on the GT Picks setting at the top of your screen, or browse the best local Game Time picks near you on your Game Time app homepage. I've been looking at Game Time all summer because there's a ton of great festivals and tours coming around. I just told you I bought me and my mom tickets to see the Doobie Brothers this summer. Can't wait for that. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code MMB for $20 off your purchase. Clem, are you getting into Game Time this summer at all?
Yep, I actually want to make a suggestion on the pod right now live. 2 days from now, Friday, June 13th, so I don't know when this is going live, but Friday, June 13th, Yankees at Red Sox. The dusty-ass evil empire gets to witness the Roman Empire come to a rise in Fenway. This is just me, Jose, Met Sox connection. We're going to take down you stinking Yankee fans. And I was looking at Game Time, $128, outfield grandstand, row 1. I love being in the first row. Check it out today. Roman Empire, take it down the evil empire. Let's go.
Listen to me. I'm wearing the Yankees hat right now, and I'm ambushing you with this. You probably didn't even know this was happening. I won't be going on Friday because I'll be going on Saturday with Jared. How about that?
You do both.
That's right. Well, because my train's on Saturday morning, but I am very excited. Fenway for Yankee Sox. That's bucket list stuff. I've only been to Fenway once before in like 2011 for a random Mariners game. It was like not the full experience. So I'm very excited for this Saturday. Download the Game Time app today. Use code MMB. What time is it? Game time. There you go. Bet you didn't see that coming.
I did not. Well done, Bob.
Acknowledge your new tribal chief, Roman Anthony.
Oh, Jared's going to be insufferable about him. Oh, he's going to be insufferable.
My girlfriend's already like, all right, like, who is this Roman guy that you keep talking to me about? I'm just like, you don't understand. He's the chosen one.
I had him on my fantasy bench for 2 months, and I was bitching like a Red Sox fan. Just be like, put this fucking guy in. I keep seeing him hit home runs.
I didn't even know you could get players in fantasy if they're not called up yet.
Dude, you're about to open up. You're about to.
We're going to save this for like the special Jose Red Sox rant episode. This is gonna be good.
I'm going to say, I'll keep this real quick. There's only one thing that I check every single day outside of comic book news is I was in a fantasy football league, a fantasy baseball league where you could draft people and keep them forever. I drafted Marcelo Myers 5 years ago and had him on my bench. I couldn't even field a full team for like 3 years because I had like Myers and CJ Abrams and Wander Franco, which is a whole nother can of worms.
Oh, like, I had him too.
Fantasy baseball is like my life, especially prospects. Anyway,
yeah,
that's a whole nother conversation.
It might as well be Jared listening to us talk comic books, me listening to some of those names there. It was just out of my sphere. So something we talked about last week, and we were like, all right, we got to get Jose's take on this because we wanted to see where your hype levels would lie. Mike Flanagan, who is writing the Clayface movie, came out and said it is directly inspired by Feet of Clay from the animated series. We wanted to see where you are on the Jose like heavy breathing meter on this Clayface inspired by Feet of Clay.
This is I need a brown paper bag to breathe into. So like that's top 4 episodes of Batman the Animated Series up there was with the Heart of Ice, Robin's Reckoning, probably Feet of Clay. Those are the three best. Those could be the three, yeah. Those are the three in any order. Like I think it's 1A. Yeah. I know people are gonna listen to this and be like, "Oh, Robin's Reckoning is 2 episodes." I get it. One long, like 50-minute episode.
Yeah, it's in one arc.
Perfection. Yeah. Feet of Clay, I think, but saying that, I think the scene when Clayface, who's in his human form, runs into when he's fighting Batman and he runs into the room with all the TVs, and then Batman turns all the screens on to all the characters he plays, and then his face just starts changing over and over, and he can't control it. That is the best scene. Those 30 seconds are the best scene in Batman the Animated Series. I think I was on your show once, maybe 2 years ago, being like, we need Clayface right now. So my hype for that is like through the roof. Like I thought such high expectations.
That's what I said last week. Clem was like, is he a Clayface guy? I was like, I'm almost positive he is. I'm almost positive this is the kind of story and movie where he's like, you guys don't even realize what they could get into with this movie. And I feel like they have to do that scene. If he's coming out and saying, like, I love Feet of Clay, it was directly inspired by that, they have to do the TV scene.
And that's the scene. Like, that's how Batman beats him. Because Batman can't beat him physically, so he has to mess with him mentally. And
that could be his hallway scene. That could be Batman's hallway scene.
Oh my God, sign me up! And then DC did this super interesting thing where it's called One Bad Day. It was a series, and it was in the vein of Killing Joke, where Killing Joke was like, Joker's whole thing is like one bad day can make a man go insane. So they did a bunch. They did like Riddler One Bad Day, Clayface One Bad Day,
they did a
like
Penguin too,
all these Penguin. I think the best one is Clayface because I feel like no one wanted to write Clayface. So the guy that got to write Clayface was just like, I'm just going to be weird. And it was scary. It was well written. It was like a horror comic. Like it was like Clayface as a horror comic book character. So that would be, if they could take some of that plus, oh my God, sign me up for it.
Yes. We got the that was new on the scale. It's the breath before he's like, he's kind of just like decompressing before he gets into it, and then the oh my God. So we have the Jose chart. I'm loving it.
It's interesting because like Batman the Animated Series is such great things for villains. Like Mr. Freeze was not the Mr. Freeze we know is because of Batman the Animated Series. I think Clayface is very similar because there's been multiple Clayfaces. Some of them look like this. Some of them. Did you watch what is it? What's the animated series that's on Amazon or
Kid Crusader? Yeah, it was good.
So
they did the different version. Yeah,
they did the original Clayface. There's another one where he has like a metal helmet and like his inside of it is like clay inside. This is the best. If they're doing Feet of Clay, this is the best. This is the best version of Clayface for sure.
Did you watch Creature Commandos?
No. I've seen scenes and it's on my list. Someday I'm just gonna sit down and plow through them.
Yeah, it's fantastic. James Gunn did it, and again, this was you're dabbling your toe into the. It would be like if you first watched the MCU by watching Guardians, where it's like these characters that weren't monstrous, but it's like you then get some other characters, but I'm not going to spoil anything, and then you're just like, holy shit! And you just that got me as excited for the future of DC as anything else, essentially, right, Bob? Because we're like,
I like that more than I thought. Yeah.
Yes.
Is Atomic Skull is in it, right? From what I've seen.
Yeah.
Or am I thinking? Yeah. So he's a sick character in the scene when he's like dancing, and then
is he Molecule something?
Yeah.
Molecule Man.
Molecule Man is in Marvel.
Is that him or no? Then I'm not thinking of the right guy. But it's like he had some weird. Yeah.
He did have the dance scene in or wait, maybe it's not. It's Atomic Skull. He did have like the dance scene with the villains.
Yeah, it's like it might not be Atomic Skull, but it's that. Maybe it is. I don't know, but I've seen that scene because I think Batman is in like
he's in the ceiling. You see his like silhouette, the shadow with the lightning behind him. It's badass.
Yeah, and Atomic Skull is also not for nothing a sick villain.
Dr. Phosphorus, that's who.
Dr. Phosphorus,
yes,
right.
Dr. Phosphorus.
I was like, it was something weird like that. Yeah, Molecules, Phosphorus.
Again, Dr. Phosphorus is also God. So they just took like all the random villains, huh?
And they give him like his henchmen are kind of like the Neon Skull guys from Batman Forever.
Oh,
which is like such a cool pull, like to put them together. It really works.
It sounds like
GI Robot's in it. GI Robot's amazing in the squad.
So, lots of Nazi killing, Jose. It's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, sign me up.
Yeah.
It sounds like what they did is, so there's in the 90s, around the Broken Bat time, there was like there still is. There were so many Batman titles. There was like Batman, Batman and Robin, Batman Capes Crusader, Detective Comics. My favorite, which I have every floppy of, was Batman Shadow of the Bat. And that one was a way to showcase like C-tier villains. So every issue was like, it wasn't that, it was like the third version of Clayface or Killer Moth or Atomic Skull, or that's where Mr. Zaz was introduced, or Amygdala.
Oh
was also
shit, really?
Yeah. So they
what
they
year
got
would that have been?
That must have been
the
like
early
80s or 90s. No, it must have been early 90s, mid 90s. But issue 1 of Shadow of the Bat, they introduced Mr. Zaz in Arkham.
That's awesome. And then speaking of comics, I wanted to ask for your thoughts on the Deadpool Batman crossover, because I've seen some people are stoked, and then some comic fans are like, this is Marvel overestimating Deadpool's value again. Don't put Deadpool in there with Batman. Like, where do you lie on it?
I mean, he's definitely in terms like the grand scheme of comic books, Deadpool is not even in the same realm as Batman, but But if in the 21st century, there's not many more popular characters that will cross over as Deadpool. Me, as someone that's not a Deadpool fan, I get it, because you might not like Deadpool comic books, but I know you probably love the movies. I'm very happy Grant Morrison's writing it, right?
I think he is, yeah.
If they're writing it, God bless the fourth wall, because that individual has been breaking the fourth wall for 20 years.
It's 2. It's Grant Morrison for DC, Zeb Wells for Marvel.
Oh.
Whoa, what was that reaction? What was that one?
I can't think of
each one, I guess, get one part of the story.
Okay. I mean,
way higher on Grant Morrison than Zeb Wells, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, Grant Morrison is one of the best. They're one of the best. Zeb Wells is the one that wrote. You know how every time I used to come on your show and they're like, the last Spider-Man is not great right now because of him. Because of him, he's one of the ones. So like, Grant Morrison is such a high level writer. Like, they wrote like the Batman and Robin and all those other
Arkham Asylum.
I think their run in Batman and Robin is. I think Reddit did the 50 favorite DC arcs, like titles, and I think their Batman and Robin was voted number 1, which I don't think it's number 1, but I won't argue. And
it's with Dick Grayson as Batman too, and Damian Wayne as Robin. Like,
it's the dynamic. Yeah, correct. Yeah, exactly. So I'm also very happy they're writing DC again, because I think that's where he shines the most. But Zeb Wells is he's kind of public enemy number 1 in Spider-Man world. Yeah. So I'm wow, what a stark contrast between those two.
I wonder if one of the issues is going to be amazing and one of the issues is going to be more as Jose is saying.
Well, Zeb Wells is the one that like introduced Paul. If everyone has read Spider-Man, he's like the most hated character in Spider-Man, because he's the one that's married to Mary Jane now, not Peter Parker. And they're like, all right, this is going to last a couple issues. And that was 7 years ago. And it's still happening.
Horrible. All right, so some DC news. James Gunn confirms a new Wonder Woman is being written right now. He also confirms the Batman 2 is still happening and really important to what they're building at DC. Batman 2 is starting to feel like Winds of Winter, as we said. It's starting to feel like it's like, we'll believe it when we see it. It's submitted, but him coming out and saying, it's coming, trust me, I'm going to have stuff about that soon, does give me faith that he's not like over promising things, because he also said we're not going to tease new projects in post-credit scenes unless we know that they are happening and it's like it works, it makes sense. He said, I learned from Marvel's mistakes. So I feel like all of those comments are good. He also said he is writing a follow-up to Superman as we speak, but it's not a direct sequel, which is making everyone question, is he doing World's Finest already? I would be surprised, because everyone would be like, they just did that with Snyderverse and it didn't work, where they jumped right to Batman and Superman. I don't know. Maybe you could do it in a different way, but what could it be if it's a follow-up to Superman that's not a direct sequel, unless it's like Justice League, and I don't think they're going there that quick either.
Shoot, could it be I mean, I wouldn't hit a prequel if he did for all seasons. That'd be sick.
Could it be him and Kara because they're doing Supergirl right after this, and that's got to be tied
that
in?
Wouldn't
like,
be
I think Supergirl's
that would be
in this.
That would be a really interesting way to introduce Darkseid too, if they want to make Darkseid a big villain. Because I do not remember who wrote it, and it's going to drive me crazy. I'm sure people that watch this are going to blow me up in the comments. But back when they did the Batman Superman, there was a Batman Superman series, like comic book series.
That was like, the first comic series I ever read.
Which
like
arc?
I want to say it was like 03 or 04. I just remember I had one graphic novel, one of the graphic novels from the arc. Might have been like volume 3 of that arc. I didn't really know what was happening. I had Mr. Mxyzptlk in there. I had like the Batmite in there. I didn't know who these characters were, but that sold me on comics immediately.
So I think the most popular one is there's like Fractured Timeline, Alternate Universe, or like Batman and Superman, or like the Dictators of the World. That one's very popular. I think the one that has generated the most, that a lot of people kind of point back to, that is when Kara first gets to Earth and Darkseid and Wonder Woman and Superman are all fighting over who gets to train her. Wonder Woman wants her to go to Paradise Island and train with the Amazons. Darkseid obviously wants to corrupt her, and Superman wants her to live like a normal person. And they made an animated movie of it, which is very good. And that's where you get this. Have you seen the meme of like Darkseid holding Superman's cape when Superman's trying to walk away? That's from that comic book, because Darkseid shows up in Smallville to fight Superman. Superman's like, I'm out of here. And then Darkseid like grabs his cape and Superman rocks him. That's where you get, I think, the best scene, one of the best Batman scenes of the 21st century, where it's Superman, Big Barda, Batman, and maybe someone else invade Apocalypse, and they're all fighting, and then Batman sneaks away into Darkseid's throne room. Or first he finds the weapon cache, and then he goes into Darkseid's throne room, and Batman is like, I've armed all of your nuclear devices. All of them. They are ticking down now. He goes, free Kara Zor-El, or I blow up Apocalypse. And Darkseid beats the fuck out of Batman. So like to the point of death, because he's like, you're lying. I'm going to kill you. No one can do that. And then Batman, in a bruised, broken state, reads off the PIN code, reads off the password, and then reads off the new password, and he goes, this is what I've done. And then Darkseid is holding Batman by the throat and then smiles, and he's like, well done. He's like, the Kryptonian would not have been able to do this. You've earned my respect, and then frees Kara. So Batman beats Darkseid without throwing a punch by threatening to blow up a planet.
That's awesome.
And that's one of the best Batman
deeply in
scenes.
love with Darkseid when he is eventually brought in, and I'm already worried about it. If you love Thanos, you're gonna love Darkseid.
So that was my question, as like a non-book knower, like Darkseid, are we looking like S tier villain in DC?
S tier.
Oh yeah.
S tier.
No
S tier.
doubt about it.
Darkseid is probably the most evil villain in the DC universe. He is the Thanos
predates
equivalent.
Thanos comic-wise, right?
Oh yeah.
Like Thanos is only, I think when Thanos came out, people were kind of like, oh, this is Marvel's Darkseid.
Yes, 100%. And Apocalypse from X-Men is also kind of in that mix where, like, because then the three of them, like Apocalypse has the 4 horsemen of death, but then Thanos worships death, but then Darkseid lives on the Apocalypse planet. It's like all 3 of them are like kind of like this.
And
thing.
Darkseid,
they all have purple skin
in the Snyderverse, and like people will always bring up that tease because the tease is amazing, and it makes you like, if you know Darkseid, you're like, holy fuck, here we go, Darkseid. But obviously, everything they built around, it's almost like a House of Cards where it was like everything kind of flopped down, where it's like, maybe we want Darkseid like done right.
And Darkseid is best when he's not fighting. Like he's a general. Like he leaves, he sends minions out to fight and doesn't care if you live or die. He has the Omega beams, which can kill Superman. It's the ant, and his whole, like Thanos worships death and he's always trying to appease death. Darkseid's whole mission is to find the anti-life equation, which is like the equation that ends all life. And then he tries to get past the source wall, which is the end of the universe. And if you fail, you get sucked into the wall. And the whole wall is made up of people's bodies trying to get to the other. It's very metal. It's very hardcore.
I was gonna say that's metal as fuck.
There's in the 90s when they did the DC versus Marvel, like I think it's like 5 or 6 issue arc. I have it somewhere on this wall. When the universes just start crossing over, Thanos and Darkseid fight for a bit, and then
there's great like panels from that always get tweeted of like, because people will bring up the debate all the time. Thanos versus Darkseid, and then people will tweet about that arc.
There's a fantastic issue drawn by, I think, John Burns it's another DC Marvel crossover where it's Silver Surfer and Orion and Galactus versus Darkseid, and that is S tier comic book right there.
That's awesome. Did you see the Galactus popcorn bucket, by the way? It's
yes, I did. Of course I did.
Popcorn bucket ever released. $80.
$80.
$80?
I was offended by that.
Oh my God. Yeah. That is hate, bro. Yeah. Holy cow.
Like one popcorn bucket and one ticket to Fantastic Four, please. That'll be $100, sir.
Oh my God, bro. That's insane.
They had that, and then they had a good Superman one that it looks like a miniature like popcorn making, like a popcorn machine, like where it would come out of the popper at the movie theater, but Superman is on the outside of it, like using his heat vision to heat up the popcorn.
I like that a lot.
It's a clever, cool. But it looks it's like you have to have a giant glass box essentially at the movie theater. I don't know how uncomfortable that would be. Before we go any further, let's tell everyone about New Amsterdam Vodka as well. This episode is brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka. It's the official vodka of Barstool Sports, the official vodka of the UFC, and in our opinion, the official vodka of winning. It's a champion vodka. You match it up against any other vodka, it's a TKO for New Amsterdam. So whether you're watching the fights this weekend at your favorite bar, or you're hanging at home listening to us or spinning back fist talk about it, celebrate your wins with the insanely smooth New Amsterdam Vodka. Find your wins with New Amsterdam. We love New Amsterdam, a great sponsor. They've got a great new label. It's sleek, it's blue, it's crisp. It's the best bang for your buck in vodka. It's a champion. We love New Amsterdam and appreciate them for sponsoring the pod. Clem, what are your thoughts on the James Gunn comments that 1, Wonder Woman is in the works, 2, the Batman is coming, and 3, he's writing this follow-up to Superman?
It's Homer with the donuts. Just keep feeding me. Keep feeding me, Jimmy. Give me all the slop. This is like the opposite of the Star Wars announcements we get that never come to fruition. I know this stuff will come at some point, right? And then we will all be coming along with him. I just like to know, like, that's the thing about DC. You kind of have to go with the heavy hitters. You know, it's been so long, and they are, I feel like, a very top-heavy comic. I could be dead wrong to the book knowers, but I do feel they're very top heavy, where it's like, these are our big 5 or whatever you want to call it. And then once you get into them, we're going to bring all these other people that are awesome. And I feel like Green Lantern, I think it's like someone like me who doesn't really know much about it. It's like, I know he should be awesome, and I really want them to crush it. Who's the other one? Green Arrow, right? And I'd like Green Arrow then becomes the next guy where it's like, all right, make Green Arrow good. But all that stuff, bring it in. I could already, the Gal Gadot stuff is going to be so annoying. People who want Gal Gadot.
Oh my God,
I know that's going to be the next nonsense we have to deal with.
Got to be clean slate. Nothing against her. Exactly. Just like clean slate. Pick someone new. Pick Bix from Andor. People are saying Bix from Andor should be Wonder Woman. Great pick. Love that pick. An amazing actress.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny now that also like you saying this, Clem, kind of reminded me, like the power dynamic or the fame dynamic of like heroes has completely changed from even when like I was growing up. Like Green Lantern and the Flash were way, way, way more famous than Doctor Strange. I don't think as a kid I like knew who Doctor Strange was, and we're now at the point where I think kids view Doctor Strange as way more famous than like a Green Lantern. People are like, who the hell is Green Lantern? But I know Doctor Strange and Ant-Man. And like they know these heroes who, when I was a kid, were not at all like in the big like zeitgeist at all. And they weren't pop culture relevant. But Marvel's flipped everything. Where like DC's got to play catch up to almost all of the Marvel heroes at this point because of the theatrical releases.
I see you literally like ripping Jose's soul to shreds as he's like, oh God, it's probably true, but it's not right. Like I can see him dying on the podcast.
It's weird.
It's Well, the Justice League animated show definitely is probably a big reason why a lot of those characters are popular. But it's similar to, like, we talked about it after one of the X-Men podcasts I was on with you guys, where Captain America and Iron Man, and like Clem kind of remembers too, if I remember correctly, but like they were not popular when we were growing up. It was the highest selling comic books were Spider-Man, Batman, and X-Men. Like those were the three. And like X-Men was like is like still to this day, like that run of in the X-Men is still one of the highest selling ever. Ant-Man, I can't believe that Ant-Man is like in the mainstream zeitgeist now, but
so mainstream.
It's so mainstream, and it's strange because like Green Lantern, Green Arrow is by Denny O'Neil is one of the 25 greatest comic book runs ever. Like those two together, like the introduction of famous John Stewart and everything. Yeah. Famous covers, favorite panels, everything.
Green Lantern's good, but he's no Star-Lord. It's like, what? But that goes to show if you have the right writer, director, and actor, like you have to have all that together, you can make blockbusters of anything.
Read, I think I'm gonna forget his name. There's a Hal Jordan arc. It's like the last 15 years or so. Jeff, whatever it is, read that. That is top. Jeff Johns. Yes, Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns, Green Lantern. Read that. Yeah. Read that arc. That, again, I would disagree. If someone wants to argue that that is the best comic book run of this century, I will not argue. Yeah. I would not put it number one, but I will hear you out. And that's how I feel like Green Lantern has more than any other villain. Well, Nightwing.
Is that his new 52 run or the one before that? Did Jeff Johns do the new 52 Green Lantern? I know he did the new 52 Aquaman.
I think it's post new 52, but I could be mistaken. But read Jeff Johns' Green Lantern. I don't remember what, maybe 2011. I don't quite know. That is peak Green Lantern to me. And I think him and Nightwing have had the best, the difference between, and Mr. Miracle, there's too many. Mr. Miracle, Green Lantern, Nightwing in the comic books compared to like the animated live action stuff, there's never been a bigger disparity. Mr. Miracle in the comic book is god level, and then he's not even utilized in the shows.
I bet most listeners don't even know who he is.
There's Mr. Miracle's run. If you just type in Mr. Miracle comic book run, the one from, I think it's Tom King. Oh my God. That is one of the best things I've ever read in any aspect in life.
Wow.
Jose, did you see Rebel Ridge, or I guess
no? So, but he's playing John Stewart, correct? Yeah.
He played. I don't know. I never saw Krypton. I saw he was in that, so I didn't even know he had experience.
Oh, he was in Krypton, the show, the sci-fi show. I don't think most people watch that.
I never watched it.
He was Dev M in the science fiction series Krypton. I don't know what that means, but we love him. That's all I need to say.
Yeah, he was awesome in Rebel Ridge. I think he's
awesome, and he has the look. He has both things combined, and I'm like, I feel good that guy could take the Green Lantern to where it needs to go.
He's John Stewart, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're doing Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan. So I think it's like, I'm pretty sure they're going to wipe Guy Gardner off the slate in Superman. Like, I think he's probably going to get killed, or, something bad's going to happen to him. Well, and then it's going to be about the real ones. Maybe knocked out. Yeah.
Guy Gardner was always the backup. Like, if Hal Jordan got too hurt, Guy Gardner would take his place.
Oh, he's second string.
So he was like tall in the pen. Like, let's get Guy Gardner in there. Like, that was his role.
There was another comic I wanted to ask you about, and I asked you about it privately, but I feel like we should do this on the podcast as well. Robert Downey Jr. posted this picture of like Doom Essentials, basically. And the comic that was on it had an awesome cover, and I texted it to you right away. I said, "What is this?" You said it was the recent Hickman run of Dr. Doom, correct? Can you explain kind of what you explained to me? Because it sounds like this could be a basis where they could go in Doomsday, or, in the future stuff where they've set things up in the MCU.
So Doom is kind of gathering a bunch of people to, I think it's Galactus, if I remember correctly. Because it seems like every time I go into the comic, because I've read it, but I don't own it. And every time I try to go buy it in the comic book stores, it's sold out because of that RDJ tweet. It's like Doomsday is basically not Doomsday. The talking about Superman. Doomsday. Dr. Doom is gathering these people to like combat Galactus, if I remember correctly, or some intergalactic universal threat, and he has to like face off with the Eternals and all these other stuff. It's basically like everyone is following Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is like kind of saving the day, and it is fantastic art. I enjoyed the story. I think I'm tired of Doctor Doom being a good guy at this point. Like,
it kind of sounds like the movies might start with that. Like, people are saying Doctor Doom is going to trick the X-Men and the Avengers into fighting each other. How could he do that? Well, what if he looked exactly like Tony Stark and was able to convince the Avengers as Tony Stark, you know, to fight the X-Men or something like that? So when you were saying this to me, and it's like Doctor Doom is basically like acting as a good guy and then, you know, makes everything turn into chaos, I'm like, I kind of think that's where they're going with this. I kind of think it's going to be hey, Tony Stark is back. We don't know how he's back, but we should listen to him because he's the leader of the Avengers.
Somehow Tony Stark returned.
Yeah.
It's always, yeah. And it's like, there are some, I think there are some panels, especially like when Doom fights Galactus and when Doom faces off with the Celestials, like, not Doom, Galactus faces off with the Celestials, like those will be panels that will be talked about for decades. Like when Magneto pulls the metal out of Wolverine or Spider-Man, like lifting the heavy stuff.
I mean,
like
already I feel like Doom ripping the spine out of Thanos. I don't think it's in this run. It's in a previous
one.
People talk about that and tweet it like to the level where I feel like they'll be disappointed if that doesn't happen in one of the movies.
Yes, I agree. And I like Doctor Doom. I think he's one of the 5 greatest villains ever. I just want him to be a villain again. There's this great panel where they're like Thor's defending Doctor Doom. He's like, we need to, he's like, he's done more for Earth than X amount of years than the Avengers have done for this. And then Iron Man is literally, it's a fantastic panel. He's like, his last name is literally Doom. Like, what are we doing here? And it's like that panel, it's like that movie or panel where like Optimus Prime is like, they're called the Decepticons. What are we talking about? It's the same thing where people are kind of like, all right, we get it, you're doing this because the movie's coming out, but like Doom is a better villain, but he's also like kind of perfect. Dr. Doom is sometimes a little overpowered. A little overpowered because
like when
he's like super smart,
the ultimate Doom, and he's like the last being in the entire universe.
Because he has the magic of Doctors. He's like Batman, where he's like at some point, like he doesn't have an answer for everything. Like he could fight Doctor Doom on the mystical realm. He could fight like Galactus in like the multiverse. He could fight Miss Reed Richards in space. I'm like, okay, like enough gadgets for Doctor Doom.
In this Hickman Doom that we're talking about, is there any Nathaniel Richards involvement? Because obviously
there's Valerie Richards. There's Valerie Richards, which is the daughter. Yeah, the sister. She's kind of she is an incredibly integral character, like a central character of this arc, to the point where like
I a lot of swap that and make all of her roles for Nathaniel if he's the only kid coming in the MCU so far.
Franklin Richards is like the first kid. So
I don't know if it was a toy leak or so. I think someone said the one in Fantastic Four, the baby that she'll have in Fantastic Four should be Nathaniel. And there was like a scene showed at maybe a Comic-Con or something of her going into labor on the spaceship. I'm wondering, like, also, like, how much can the baby do in the next 2 Avengers movies?
Did they look for a penis in the toy? How do they know it's a boy? Did it say Nathaniel Richards' baby toy? And why are you buying a baby toy?
It said his name on the box or something. Okay, I don't know.
Okay.
The problem with like Franklin Richards is arguably the most powerful superhero ever, and Nathaniel Richards has no superpowers. Valerie Richards works with Doom quite a bit in this Hickman run, or I don't want to give anything away.
I'm wrong. I'm completely wrong. It is Franklin.
Okay.
I just Googled it. It's Franklin. People were probably screaming at their TVs. It's Franklin.
And Franklin got the powers.
Yes. Like not just had the powers, like
capital P.
Like, you know, who's the baby in
I was gonna say he's the baby from Incredibles.
He's the baby from Incredibles. He has like Incredibles. He is like Franklin Richards is like the superhero. Like,
I think if Franklin the Turtle, when I hear Franklin, I'll be completely honest.
I mean,
it disarms him right away because I just think of that friendly ass turtle.
He is an Omega level superhero. Like, there's
like as a baby though, like immediately it's like this fucking baby's around and he might kill Doom.
Right out of the gate, they're like, they think it's a baby, and then like stuff starts happening, and they realize like, oh, Franklin Richards might be the most powerful individual in the entire
universe. Then maybe it's
universe.
Like Dune. I know in the Dune book and in the original, like the 80s Dune, the Paul Atreides' sister, I think, is the one that kills Baron. And it's like she's a toddler, but she's got the mind of a human or whatever. Maybe in friggin' Secret Wars, Franklin will be walking around by then doing a little crawl, and he fucking hits RDJ with the dagger.
Because Franklin's powers are, I think that the way I would describe it is like can warp reality. So he's basically a living Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh,
like he doesn't need the stones to do what the Gauntlet does.
See, this is the thing about the Fantastic Four coming into our lives is like the four characters, Marvel's first family, all the big arcs that they were in, all the big villains that they introduce and fight. Very important. Then there's the fucking kids, and that's where I'm just like, this is such a bigger universe than my
I didn't realize there were 3 kids. 3 kids?
And then they have kids, and then some of them become Kang, right? Like, I don't know what's
Nathaniel's Kang?
There's a lot of shit going on.
Or Franklin's Kang.
I think, well, it's again, all 3 are possibilities.
We're talking possibilities now.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
There's even, I remember Franklin once created like a pocket dimension by accident when he was like a kid, and it was just an entire exact like copy print of 616 universe. So he just made another universe like by accident. Like he hit Command C, Command V on the universe.
Yeah.
And then I think at one point the Celestials were even like, should this person become one of us? Like he is the most overpowered character in Marvel history.
Now, which version of Kang is the one that does Kang Fu and kicks Spider-Man? Because that's the one.
that's the
OG,
right?
That's like the normal
OG,
one we've seen.
That's OG Kang. That's OG Kang. I tweeted that out. I'm like, if we don't get Kang Fu once, like, what are we even doing?
You're talking about those like
Kang Fu for everyone.
You're talking about those epic comic frames. The Kang Fu is what I thought of immediately when you said that.
There's that, and my favorite one. It's a Dr. Doom one. My absolute favorite panel in the history of comic books. It's Doom versus Submariner, and Doom has like this horn, and I don't remember if it summons a Kraken or something. It summons something, and Submariner's like, you can't do that. Like give me back the Horn of Atlantis. And Doom, the caption is like, fool, Doom does what he pleases. And then like the onomatopoeia thing that comes out of the horn is just TOOT. It's just toot. And I think it's so bad and so good. It was my wallpaper on my computer for maybe 10 years of Doom blowing this horn and Submariner being like, don't do it.
That's hysterical. And then before we get you out of here, I wanted to ask for just general comic recommendations. If people are going on a beach vacation this summer and they're looking for a couple books to pick up, obviously we've been waving the Absolute Batman flag. That's like, go get Absolute Batman. You're a big Absolute Martian Manhunter guy as well, right?
I think Manhunter is my favorite one. I think it's so unique because, and I'm not like, I like physical comic books more, but I don't begrudge anyone from reading digital comic books because like you can see they take up too much space. I would 100% recommend reading Martian Manhunter physically because there are certain issues where you literally have to hold the comic book up to the light, like to get the full panel. And I think it's so good.
Creative as hell.
It's so unique. So buy them in person. All the Absolutes are a blast. I think Manhunter's the best. I think Wonder Woman's second. Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Flash. That would be my order. Ultimate Spider-Man is fantastic. Alien versus Avenger is unbelievable. If you are a fan of the Alien and Prometheus, like Xenomorph world, I think
coming into like the Marvel universe.
So, have you seen the Prometheus movies?
I've seen Prometheus and not Covenant.
So watch Covenant and then read Alien versus Avengers, because I think Alien versus Avengers is an incredible sequel to Alien Covenant.
It's not shit. I didn't know this was happening,
because like the engineers are in it, the Xenomorphs are on Earth. Like they show the ships.
I'm getting way into the Alien franchise lately.
There are 3 issues out, so you can catch up quick. But there's like Miles Morales. Everyone's an adult, so like Miles Morales is an adult, and like the Xenomorph gets on things, and the Hulk is doing his thing, and they're all old. It's like old men.
I didn't even know this was happening.
The art is fantastic. I think it is if you might not like superheroes, but if you just like Xenomorphs and the engineers and that whole lore, it's fantastic. Outside of that, Alison Bechdel just came out with a new comic book, a new graphic novel. She wrote Fun Home and Dykes to Watch Out For, which are big award-winning things. Craig Thompson, who wrote Blankets and Habibi, 2 of my 10 favorite graphic novels of all time, just came out with Ginseng Roots right behind me. It's only been out for about a month. That's pretty fantastic. And then Feeding Ghosts by Tessa, let me see if I can find it. Tessa Hulls right here became became the second comic book ever to win a Pulitzer Prize after Mouse.
Wow.
So that
and
just
Mouse
won,
is legendary,
Mouse is iconic. This one, the Pulitzer Prize for Best Memoir. That's also very fantastic. So if I were to recommend 3 or 4 non-superheroes, like if you just want to sit down and plow through like just a graphic novel about life, those are probably my big 4. But any of the absolutes are good. Avengers versus Alien are good.
Maybe I'm just speaking about myself. I forget that there are graphic novels out there that are just like serious stories about life. Like,
or if you don't want a serious story about life, this one right behind me, this man in the helmet, that is the Eternaut. They just got a reprinting on Fantagraphics. That is now it's a new show also on Netflix, but the Eternaut came out in the 60s. It's the greatest Argentinian comic book ever written. I think it's in English. It's been translated to English.
Agree to disagree, Jose. I know a few Argentinian comics that are better.
Listen, I didn't want to bring it up, but I just assume I don't have to explain it. Clem just knows. He's on finger on the
pulse. He's been reading Argentinian books for years.
I mean,
that's why he doesn't have the time to read all the comic books that we talk about on the the show. He's been reading the Argentinian one.
Batman, like. Has Batman even been to Buenos Aires? Like, come on. But so this is a sci-fi book. I have this gentleman, the Eternaut, actually tattooed on the back of my leg. It's the most painful thing I've ever experienced in my entire. It's the most painful tattoo I've ever experienced. But that is, they started the show on Netflix. There's 6 issues. I think there's 6 episodes in. It's the first half is out. It's obviously in Spanish, but you can get the subtitles. That for years was very hard to find, but they're just put a reprinting out. I cannot recommend it enough if you like just sci-fi, dystopian, future type stuff. But those are all the ones. Yeah. But get that if you can before it sells out, because you might not be able to get it soon.
There is something about that just pops. Like I was looking at that when you were talking before.
I was looking at that too. I was wondering what it was.
It's the book, because this is a book sleeve. So it
cool.
comes out. Yeah.
That's dope.
So this gentleman, the Eternaut, it would be, you see like the Obey symbols with Andre the Giant everywhere.
Yeah.
This is that in Argentina, this face. So if you go to Argentina, you see this face graffitied all over the place.
Wow, that's cool.
Read it. And it just like within the last couple weeks finally has a second this is an original one, but the reprinting is like $50. Buy it up because it's so good. Just buy comic books.
And listen, boys, I'm going to bring someone to the table that I usually don't bring to this part of the podcast. I am going to give a comic book for people to read. However, it's not for people like us to read. The younger people, the kids, if you have kids, if you're a parent like myself, AJ got into this comic book called Cat Ninja. And it's not like a book. Ooh. It's like a thicker book. So it's like a graphic. I don't really want to consider it. It's called Cat Ninja. And I'm telling you guys, like the TV will be on, YouTube will be on, Fortnite will be on, and he'll just be like, nope. And he will just sit down and read.
Oh,
and it's like, holy shit. Like they cracked the code. Like they actually got this kid to read. And Sienna had a friend growing up who apparently was obsessed with it as well. So apparently from what I can gather, Cat Ninja is a huge book for like kids that they just immediately love, and it'll get them into the comic book world. Because I don't know how good a lot of the Marvel and DC stuff is for younger kids. So in all honesty, if you're looking just for your kid to get into this stuff,
it's a gateway. You're recommending a gateway comic.
Before you know it, they're reading the Argentinian comics on the side just to get their fix.
I love it. Jose, thank you for joining as always. And if you have specific comic recommendations for Jose, you could follow him, tweet him, Instagram. I see people doing it all the time because we get tagged them sometimes as well. Or they'll be like, Jose, I want to read about like this character. Or Jake Bass will say like he hit you up about like a random character here or there.
Oh yeah.
So make sure to follow Jose. Of course, if you're an MMA fan as well, he's covering MMA constantly. And we'll get you back in the basement post Fantastic Four and Superman because we got to get your thoughts and break down both those movies with you.
Bob, we got to pick his brain on Sentry too, and all the stuff that we had because
we got to get into that as well.
That is without question the most recommendation request I've ever gotten was Sentry. Really? I was getting like
how much that they nailed the character in the movie. I think that people were that intrigued where they were like, I want to find out more.
That was a movie I was gonna wait to see at home, but I was getting like 10 to 15 a day, like DMs, being like, "Give me a Sentry," to the point where I just had it copied on my notes so I could just keep sending it. Because I'm just like, I don't want to have to keep typing this out. But yeah, like I'm always down to talk Sentry.
Hell yeah! All right, Jose, great talking to you as always.
Anytime, homies.